So within this segment, we're going to cover the sudo command as well as the software center and the apt package manager, which is what you'll use to manage software. Now, before we get to the package manager as well as the software center, I wanted to talk about the sudo command, just so you guys can get a clear understanding of what it actually is. And just to simply break it down for you, sudo stands for super user do, and is used to access restricted files and operations, because by default the Linux operating system restricts access to certain ports of the system, preventing sensitive files from being compromised. And what happens when you run the sudo command, it temporarily elevates privileges, allowing users to complete sensitive tasks without logging in as the root user. So first thing I want to do is run man and sudo. That way you can get a little bit more information about it. And like I said, I always run these man commands so you guys can see where to get the information for each one of these commands. So let's press enter, sudo, and it says execute a command as another user, and typically is used to elevate a user to a super user status or as the root user of the system. And the simplest way to relate it to a Windows operating system, when you want to run something as an administrator, you right click on the application and hit run as administrator. Now, it doesn't ask you for a password, in Windows, but you do have to take that extra step to run things as the administrator. It'll just simply pop up with a prompt asking you if you want to run this application as an administrator. But in Linux, it's totally different. You have to type in your password anytime you want to elevate your privileges. So let's go on and quit. And the way I'm going to show you guys is what I typically use the sudo command for, and that is updating your system. Now, there are multiple ways of updating it. I believe in earlier parts of the course, I covered how to install packages within the software center, which I'll bring it up after this, just to show you that it's actually using sudo while using the software center as well. But I wanted to cover in the command line how to update the system. But before I do that, let's run the man command against apt as well, because most applications do have a manual, and this is the case for the app package manager. And as you can see, it says command line interface, and what it's used for is to install and update packages. Now let's go down and quit that. I just wanted to kind of show it to you. But apt actually stands for Advanced Package Management Tool. And basically, it facilitates the process of installing and uninstalling Linux software packages. And apt is typically the package manager for Debian-based distributions. So majority of Debian-based distributions will have the apt package manager installed and ready for you to use to install packages on the system. And depending on what distribution you are using, there are other package managers out there. But like I stated, I want to focus on apt. So now let's use the sudo command and apt command to update our system. Now the first command I'm going to run is sudo apt update. And just to break this command down, first we're using sudo to elevate our privileges, because we can only make changes to the operating system files if we elevate our privileges, because a lot of the packages, where the binaries are and all that stuff, is in an area that's owned by the root user of the operating system. And in order for us to make changes to it, we have to elevate our privileges so that we're running the command as root. So that's just simply what the sudo command is for. And then we have apt, which is our package manager. And then there's an option called update. And what update will do, just to break it totally down, most Linux distributions have repositories where they store authorized software that you can install in the system. And the update command basically updates the cache of the available packages to your operating system. And this is something that you want to do because it'll let you know if you have updates. So if a new package is on their repository that's installed on your system, then it'll let you know after running the update command. So let's go on and run it now so you guys can kind of see what it's going to do. And anytime you run sudo, you have to type in your password for your user account unless it's timed out, because I believe it's a time period of 5 minutes or so. Once you authenticate once, if you run the sudo apt updated command again within that 5-minute time period, it won't ask you for the password again. And so basically what it's doing is hitting all the Ubuntu servers where packages are stored, and it's refreshing the cache on the system. And as you can see, we have 3 packages that can be updated on the system now. And so in order to update our packages, there's another command. You basically run sudo apt upgrade. This is how you actually upgrade those packages. So you have to use the upgrade option with the apt package manager in order to upgrade the packages, because right now it didn't do the update. It just told you that you had updates to the actual packages. But in order to upgrade them, you have to type upgrade. And just to point this out right fast, you can actually look at what's being updated by running apt list and then -- upgradable. That'll list out the actual packages that are about to be upgraded before you run the upgrade command. So now let's just go on and run it so you guys can see an update to the system. And then right here, it kind of shows you what packages are being updated. And right now the Python 3 update manager is being updated, update manager is being updated, and update manager core is being updated. And then it tells you 3 upgraded applications will be installed, and it also tells you how much additional space will be taken up by these upgrades. So as you can see, that's not much, but let's go down and press enter, or you could type Y for yes, and that's basically confirming that you want to upgrade these packages. And essentially that's pretty much it. That's how you update your system. And now that we've done that, let me go down and show you guys the software center. And this will allow you to install applications. I believe I showed a little bit earlier, but I didn't go through and install anything. So let's go down and install something here so you can see that the sudo command works pretty much the exact same way. So let's install GIMP, which is an image manipulations program. And essentially all you have to do is click on it, and then there's a button that says install. And one cool thing about this package manager right here, it has reviews of the packages from everyone that's using it, and information about the actual package that you're installing. And all you have to do is hit install, and this is basically running it as sudo because it has to authenticate. It's the exact same thing as if you were running it within the command line. So let's press authenticate, and then it will go through the process of installing the package. And at the end of the day, this is doing exactly what you can do within the terminal. And within my first couple years of learning Linux, I forced myself to not use the package manager. I forced myself to install things from the command line. And I recommend you do the same. That way you can get the hang of actually updating, installing packages from the command line, because that's the best way to actually do it. But let's go down and wait for this thing to finish. This is kind of a pretty decent sized program, so it'll take a little while to actually install. But as you can see, it's almost there. It's right at 90%. So let's wait a couple more minutes. But I just wanted to show you guys that that's the full process of installing an application. And that's pretty much it. And if you ever want to remove an application, all you got to do is hit remove. So let's go down and close this. I'm not going to open up the package that I installed. But before we move on, I wanted to show you a couple more things you could do with the app package manager right fast. I figured that would be better for you to understand the actual program. But if we type sudo and then apt And let's say we want to search for a package, and you got to kind of know the names, but all you have to do is type sudo apt search and then the package name. Let's look for that same package that we just installed. So search GIMP, and it'll search the repository for the GIMP package or the GIMP package that we just installed. Now it doesn't narrow it down too much because a lot of these packages have GIMP in it, but if you scroll through here, you'll see the actual package, and maybe that was a tough one to actually look for. So let's go back down to the bottom and search for something else, and let's press the up arrow and let's search for a zip program. And we all know zip from Windows, how you compress files and folders. You can use the zip package, where there is a ported version of zip on the Linux operating system that you can use to zip and unzip files. So let's go down and search for that and see if it's there. And as you can see, I believe it's zip tool or zip, not zip tool, but it should be, yeah, here we go, zip. It's that is the actual package. So archiver for zip files. So that's a way to search for applications. So let's say we want to install that application. The package name is what's in green, at least on the Linux operating system. And like I said, other distributions use different package managers, so different commands to actually search for packages. But let's say we want to install zip. Let's go down and install it right fast. And the command to install it, and let me move my mouse out the way, but it's sudo apt install and then zip, and you can press enter and that'll install the zip package. And as you can see, zip is already installed. It already has the latest version. That's why it didn't do anything, because zip is already installed. So let's try unzip, because sometimes unzip is not on here. Let's try that and see if it goes through. Now unzip is on there as well. So anyway, that's pretty much how you install a package. Now let's say you want to remove a package, and one thing we could remove is the unzip package. And all you have to do is type sudo apt, and the command to remove it is simply remove. So remove and then unzip. Or actually, let's remove the GIMP package, and just press enter and it'll go through and remove GIMP. And I believe I might have installed a snap package, so that may not work. So it wasn't installed through app, through the package manager. Sometimes it'll default to the snap version, and I know I didn't explain that, guys, but a snap is essentially a containerized piece of software that you can install. They call it a snap package. It's a new thing that they're pushing to manage packages, but app is still relevant, and it's something you need to learn in order to use the Linux operating system. So let's try removing unzip right fast, and we can remove that actual application. Should be good to go. So unzip is going to be removed, and then we'll just install it back on the system. But that fully removed unzip from the system. Now let's go on and install it back on the system by just running sudo apt install unzip, so you can see, you know, something actually being installed. And that's pretty much it. So you can use the zip and unzip package on this system. And that's pretty much how you use the package manager on a Linux operating system. And this mainly will work for Debian based distributions. If you're using a different distribution, then you'll have to refer to the package manager's documentation for that distribution of Linux.